Welcome to the Omni Talk Fast Five, sponsored by Takeoff, the A&M Consumer and Retail Group, and for the month of May, Manhattan Associates. Today is April 29th, 2021. I am your host, Chris Walden, and I am joined, as always, by Ann Mazinga. Ann, how are you?
We're still here, Chris.
We're still
Emma's
here.
gone. She's on into her new world, but you and I are going to try to somehow hold this show.
Yes, and then there were two. Yes, Emma the intern, for those that might have missed the news last week, she's off to the greener pastures of Baltimore. I think that's an appropriate term. And we will miss her dearly, but hey, we soldier on. We soldier on because the retail headlines keep on happening. And there's some big ones this week. And I am excited to announce too that, as I just teased, for the month of May, Manhattan Associates is going to be our sponsor in the lead up to their big annual event, which is the Momentum Connect Conference the week of May 24th. I'm actually keynoting that event. I'm going to be talking a little omni-channel and all the key retail trends that are shaping the industry. So stay tuned because we're going to have more information coming your way here on this show. And then, of course, on social media in all the lead up to that show at the end of the May. I hope you'll check it out and consider attending. But Ann, we've also got some other big news going on. Like next week, tell the folks, tell the listeners at home what we got going on, because there's something special happening next week.
I am so excited. This is as close as I will ever get to attending the Dave Matthews Live at Luther College concert that I so desperately wish I could have been at growing up in 1998. But we are doing a show that's live with the Kellogg Business School next week. So we're going to be doing the show. We're going to invite the participants from that class to participate in the show. We're going to be live. Anything could happen, but I'm really excited. Like DMB all the way. I'm gonna make like DMB for that show. It's gonna be great.
This is exciting. I don't even know what DMB means, but that sounds amazing. We've talked about him on the show. Jim Lisinski, who's a professor in marketing, omnichannel marketing, basically at the Kellogg Business School out in Chicago with Northwestern. He asked us to come and tape a Fast Five recording in front of his class. So his whole class is going. We're going to see how this works. We have no idea. But it's cool, it's different, and his whole class is actually going to play the role just like we play here every day. There's probably going to be some cold calls involved, and we're going to see where it goes. So stay tuned for that. And then actually, that same day, so Thursday, we're going to be recording that with Kellogg. That same day, I am also moderating a killer panel. Yeah, did you see the lineup for this panel with Knopf?
Solid, yes. Nordstrom, Shipped. Who else is on there? Oh, Tractor Supply Company. Like everybody that's been in the news is going to be at that panel. So you're going to want to check it out for sure.
The chief supply chain officers at Nordstrom and Tractor Supply Company, and the chief business development officer at Shipped as well. So, and it's completely unscripted. So we have no script going in. So this is going to be a real authentic conversation. I know many of them well. It's been fun putting this together, and I can't wait to hear that conversation. If you want to sign up for that, go to omnitalk.blog right now. It's right there on the homepage. It's free for everyone to register. I think it's one of the coolest panels I've ever been associated with, so I cannot wait to do it. And huge thanks to Knopf, DC Velocity, Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals for helping to put that on. So, all right, Ann. I think we should give them a great show today. What do you think? Do you think the audience deserves a great show today?
It's all I do. I think that's not all I do is win. All we do is put on great shows.
All we do is win, and put on great Fast Fives. I just spilled coffee all over myself. Okay. All right. But we have an amazing show today. We're going to talk about Gopuffs and some of the hiring moves that they've made. Amazon is, of course, not surprisingly expanding a new delivery service to the garage. And coincidentally, Walmart is announcing more things around its delivery to the fridge in the same week. Those two just go right at each other. It seems like every week. We're going to talk Instagram and their new marketplace they have to connect creators and also brands. And believe it or not, there's also a new Harry Potter store in New York City that made our list today.
Is that a thing that they say? Do they say huzzah in Harry Potter? I don't even know.
I don't know.
People are going to be like,
I have not. I have no idea. Believe it or not, as big of a geek as I am, Star Wars fan, I actually don't know very much about Harry Potter. But we're gonna take off like we do every week. We're gonna take off with headline number one, and headline number one is that Walmart is pulling the plug on more robots, according to the Wall Street Journal. Now, in our opinion, what is quite possibly the worst headline of all time, the Wall Street Journal has reported that Walmart is quote unquote phasing out its 17-foot tall pickup towers from inside its stores. According to a Walmart spokesperson that was quoted in the article, quote, "The customer told us they want one pickup spot and they want that pickup spot to be outside," end quote. And headline aside, what do you think of this article? What does it say to you? What does this headline say to you?
Well, I always hate when they're like, customers tell us this is what they want. This is what they want. It always goes back to the like old Henry Ford quote, like, you just tell me you'd want a faster horse. Like, no, that's not the simple answer.
Right.
And I think for
Great
me,
point.
my biggest pet peeve about this is like, people are like, well, yeah, just move the tower outside. There's an internet meme that I love. I don't know if you've seen it,
Oh,
Chris,
I
but
haven't
it's like,
seen it.
one does not simply blank, blank, blank. Like you can fill it in. It's from like some movie that, of course, I've probably never watched, but like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves or something. But anyway, I think the point is, I'll post the meme on LinkedIn so people
Okay,
can see what
sure,
I'm talking
Forrest. You
about.
go for that. All right.
It does exist. But anyway, I think the point is one does not simply move the tower outside. You
Right.
can't, it's not as simple as just
You're missing
going
the
to
point.
curbside. You are
Yeah.
missing the point. And I got deep into a Reddit thread last night of Walmart employees who were talking about this, who were like,
Oh,
yeah,
sweet.
this is like, it's the towers. So there were some issues with the towers. Some of the placement of the towers wasn't working. It was like in the middle of produce and like
Right.
it just, it was a temporary fix. And now I think as we look at Walmart and other retailers who are starting to really like rip off this Band-Aid, like figure out what the long-term strategy is going to be for fulfilling orders, both in store and curbside, we're going to see still a lot more flexibility needed in what the right solution is. But there were rumors in that thread that they're actually going to larger kiosks. So they're not completely getting rid of the towers, but they might be looking at something that's more along the lines of, what we're seeing at like the Jewel Osco, for example. So bigger formats.
Clever.
Allow you, yes, like where they're allowing you to pull in and pick up from a larger kiosk. You don't have to go in store to this like random kiosk you have to find. So I think overall, like this will get better. This is not the end of pickup towers altogether, and it's not just curbside as the answer.
Yeah, or pickup towers or pickup lockers is probably actually the better way to say this. I mean, the thing I hate about this article, and this is why we do what we do, and no offense to the Wall Street Journal, but I'm going to be pointed here, is this actually has nothing to do with robots, really. Like, and that article actually makes the comparison of Walmart's robot efforts with Bossa Nova. And Bossa Nova against an automated pickup tower in terms of robotics are two really different things. Like one is roving the store and looking at shelf accuracy and inventory. The other one is just moving parcels around in a locker to make sure that everything is staged appropriately. Those are two really different dynamics in terms of what's going on. And lumping that all in, I think, does the whole thing a disservice. And to your point, the disservice is that there's still a lot of unknowns in terms of, how this is going to work. Like there's still the big question is, like, do lockers matter? Do we need them in the United States? They're huge over in Europe. Where do we need them here and in what densities? Do we need them in the store, or actually are they better served outside of the store? Like, and Cleveron makes both. Or both, right? And Cleveron makes the towers inside the store that Walmart's talking about, and then they also make the ones that you were referencing with Albertsons, right, and Jewel Osco, right? And what does that look like? And what is the architectural experience that combines walk up and drive up outdoors out of the store? I don't think we know the answers there yet. And that's really the story here, is that we're only in the first innings of this, right? And I don't fault Walmart for trying this experiment. I think it's a great experience. Plus, it also was a big, huge gesture in the store to say, look, we have pickup. Right. And there was probably a lot of value in that. What do you think, Anne? Anything else to add?
Yeah, I think like number one, we still haven't seen the end all solution. The current solutions that, everybody from Target to Walmart, the lines that you're waiting in, whether you're doing curbside or you're doing in-store pickup, like it's still a problem that needs to be solved, and it's going to take some time and some experimentation. So
yeah. And the other part of the story of lockers too that I think that we should bring up is like, when you're talking about lockers in a Walmart or a Target, where they're already built in areas where there's a lot of density, and shout out to my boy Nate for telling me this. It's not something I'd really thought of. That's a different question than the setups in Europe, right? But like these are big stores with a lot of space, and they have a lot of people around them. So how you look at lockers within that environment can be a very different dynamic. But when you start going, say, further and further and further out, what do lockers provide? Is that consolidated pickup point or delivery point? There's all kinds of angles that haven't been explored here. And that's where the conversation needs to go. All right, Ann, let's keep rolling. Let's keep this momentum going.
Oh my gosh. All right. So, according to Grocery Dive, GoPuff has confirmed that they've hired former Amazon Vice President of Global Logistics, Tim Collins, as their new Senior Vice President of Operations. So, Collins spent more than 20 years total. He had a brief break, went over to Uber for a bit, and came back to Amazon. But Collins will be overseeing GoPuff's operations, supply chain, customer service, real estate, and launch teams. That's a lot of teams
alphabet
for
soup
one
shit. Yeah, that's
small
stuff.
Yes, one man in charge of a lot of things. So you may recall GoPuff also recently just got over $1 billion in new funding. They've also made a lot of other key executive appointments in the last few months. Executives from Airbnb, Uber, and one of my favorites, the lauded Jocelyn Wong, formerly of Lowe's, is their chief customer officer. So, Chris, I think this indicates we were talking about this when we were getting ready for the show. This is something that we have said before, but they really need to be paying attention to. This is a big hire. It shows, I think, that GoPuff isn't just a flash in the pan. They've got 250 dark stores, triple-digit year-over-year growth. They're really going after that small, same-day, quick, cheap delivery. And I think that this is going to just kind of blow up in the next couple of years. What do you think, though?
I do too. I think this makes you think there's a there, as a friend of ours says. I put that out on social media this morning. I think it's getting good traction. I mean, this guy was at Amazon for 20 years. And as a student of history, I like to look for patterns too. And, I can remember a lot of ex-Amazon people that went over to Target, and a lot of them, I think Amazon people know where Amazon's defenses are potentially down, right? And Amazon people would always say, like, Target leveraging its stores as the hub of a fulfillment network or a node in the network in a way they haven't before, whether it's for pickup or last mile delivery and all the types of things Target's been doing of late, that's where they can really gain some ground. So when you see somebody that's been at Amazon for 20 years off and on, but give or take 20 years,
right?
And Amazon's still doing pretty damn well. And they go to this company alongside the names of other people from companies like Airbnb and SpaceX and stuff like that, with $1 billion of funding. It makes you wonder if there isn't some hook here that is really, really powerful. And the more I keep looking at this, Ian, I said to somebody yesterday, the whole delivery marketplace for quick, get it in 30 minutes or less, and where do I go when that's what I want to happen? Absolutely, somebody can sneak in there and grab that. And if anybody's going to know how to do it, it's probably the VP of Global Logistics from Amazon, right?
Totally.
I don't know what the hell he knows about real estate, but he probably knows a lot about global logistics.
Well, I think it just, we hear this a lot from people, I think, who were former Target people, former Amazon people. Like, you learn so much about how to run a business and how to work those vendor relationships, the CPG relationships. Like, you learn about how things work and function. And so I think that that's another testament to this hire. Like, GoPuff is looking at getting somebody who has 20 years of experience at Amazon, knowing how to run teams, how to get people up to speed, to learn fast, to spend in the right ways. I think it makes so much sense. And I think it's a really, really smart move by GoPuff.
Yeah. And $1 billion gives you a lot of room for error. So I think somebody said on social media today, it's like time we start paying attention to GoPuff. We've been saying it now for probably like at least the past year. So I wholeheartedly agree. And just production note, I spilled hot coffee in my lap at the start of this podcast and have been able to soldier on somehow. So fortunately, I've already had the kids. But anyway, headline number 3, Amazon is expanding its service that lets people receive deliveries right inside their garage. And what's interesting about this is that there's also the juxtaposition, as I mentioned before, that Walmart this week also announced that it is expanding its Mark Laurie favorite delivery to the fridge program. So here's what you need to know in relation to these two stories, and then we can talk the Walmart and Amazon battle here. But as of this past Thursday, Prime members now across, and this was crazy, 5,000 US cities. 5,000 US cities. Reminds me of like Ferris Bueller. Can now have their Amazon purchases delivered right inside their garages. It's part of what Amazon is calling their Amazon Key program. The company's, which is, quote, the company's array of services that enable delivery drivers to leave packages in garages, homes, cars, and businesses, end quote. It reminds me of Ghostbusters, by the way. Are you the key keeper?
Well, that's not where I was going. I was like, that sounds a little too close to another kind of key party. Like, I don't know about the key initiative, but you know, that's
right,
cool.
yeah.
You go Ghostbusters, I go into like swingers.
So the name aside, that's how it works. And basically what it requires is you have to, of course, have a smart lock and a camera and a smart garage door opener. Now, Walmart, not to be outdone, also what you need to know there, they, after launching what they are calling their in-home to your fridge delivery service, which I think is an interesting name when it's just basically in-home, but it's about the fridge. They started that in Pittsburgh, Kansas City, and Vero Beach, Florida, my favorite Florida town. And they are now expanding it to Northwest Arkansas, further cities in Southeast Florida, and in July, and I don't know why this city keeps coming up in everything we do, in July, they're going to add Atlanta. But hey,
yes.
With all that said, now's the time for the put you on the spot question.
Oh
yeah. I hate to do it to you.
Because Chad was on this project. Chad Lusk at A&M was on the Amazon delivery project in a past life. So
you are right. And guess what? Today's put you on the spot question comes from Chad. So here is Chad's question. Chad has this question for you. Chad would like to know, Amazon garage delivery, are you in on this service? And if so, why? And if not, what do you think it's missing? And is there anything specific to it in terms of the perishability of groceries? Better you than me.
If somebody really wants to go and try to put anything in my garage, be my guest, because it is a hot mess in there. Yes, I would say I'm in on it. I mean, I think that this is going to be more prominent, like some kind of delivery, like the Amazon key program, where it's put it in my trunk, put it in my garage, put it in my house. I mean, I just think it's going to become more and more ubiquitous as the year goes on. Yes, I like it. I personally don't think I'd go for the garage angle. To me, it seems like that works great if like your garage is connected to your house and it's like the PR photos and there's nothing in it. But I think to me, it makes a lot more sense to just like open the front door and put it in. Like, it seems like temperature control would be better in most garages. And like, I guess all it's avoiding for me is like theft, like a prevention from theft, and maybe like
porch piracy.
Right. But yeah. I guess I would go for, I'm much more of a person of, I'd rather let you into my house and have you set it inside my front door than I would have you put it in my garage, or especially in my fridge. I'm still not there on the fridge angle. So hold that, because I was going to ask you that. So, but basically, like psychologically, you're like, yeah, I could see potentially using this for a garage or for just having people come into my house, which it sounds like you can have it delivered to your garage, your home, your car, your business, as long as you've got kind of this smart setup. Yeah. I mean, I feel the same way. I actually think this is more interesting for non-groceries in a lot of ways, because like there is no perishability factor. So if I can get rid of porch piracy, sure, and it's videotaped and I can see everything, like I don't think that's a problem. I don't think it necessarily solves the grocery issue though, because there isn't any like temperature control unless you're using like freezer bags, which maybe they are, that last for a really long time. And so then you get rid of the porch piracy problem and then you're okay there. And so like, I think it's fine. Like, I think this makes sense. And 5,000 cities is a lot, and Amazon doesn't do something at that scale unless they kind of have a pretty good amount of confidence in it usually. Or maybe it's just still really small and they're just doing it in more cities and they'll see what happens and they'll shut it down. So I mean, overall, I think, why not? I think this is interesting. I think there's probably plenty of people that would like to use it, and hell, it forces you to probably keep your garage clean too, right? And I mean, for the most part, like, it might not be the worst thing in the world. Or we're gonna see Reddit threads of the Amazon delivery drivers who are like, "Oh my god, I found a body in there" or something. Like, just
I mean, I can think of all the things that can go wrong, but like
a shovel fell on my head as I was driving.
My thing was like, the garage door doesn't close, then what do you do, right? Like that's like insane.
Well, I agree, but I think that's where this like smart technology comes in. Like, you can see that your garage door is not closed. I watched the demo video from MyQ or whatever. Yeah,
Amazon probably has some fail-safe built in that. The other thing too is there's usually another door into your house that's probably locked and secure. So like, there's that whole other element here. But anyway, you brought it up. The Walmart and the fridge thing, they're doubling down on this, which I think is insane in the middle of a pandemic. It's like, okay, let's let people, way into your house, right? I made the joke that maybe they'll bring me loofahs while I'm showering next. That seems like I wouldn't put it past Walmart. But like, are you any more in on this fridge thing, or like, where's your head? I mean, it was like, wasn't it like 2 years ago they announced this first? It was like 2
I think
years ago.
so. Yeah. I'm not. I think something about like a stranger, even with a body camera on, just like touching and moving around the food that's in my refrigerator is just like a little too personal for me. But I mean, again, that doesn't mean that there's not a lot of people that would use it. I think like, to me, the more interesting side of delivery, like the angles that I'm seeing that I think are much more adventurous and it could have a bigger impact on the rest of society, are like the things like Amazon's doing with the e-bike distribution in urban centers. Like that's what I'm focused on. I think these are like a bunch of PR back and forth like
stuff.
splashes. Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I think I'm gonna be really pointed here. I think the fridge idea is just dumb. Like, I don't usually use that type of language often, but I think it's the single dumbest idea that we've seen in the 5 years of doing this. And that's why I think it's like so PR sizzle. Like, I think it's just not cool. It's not interesting. I don't think they should be doing it. I don't think they should be wasting their time doing it. I also think it's interesting that the person that was heading the project, Bart Stein, I believe his name is, I'll check that as we're going through this. He's not even with the company anymore. He left, I believe, in March. So I think that's a fascinating thing here too. Why are we talking about this right now? And I think when you look at all of the hubbub of everything going on with Walmart right now and the minimum wage too, it doesn't make any sense why this is a topic. So I don't know. I just think it's important context for everyone to consider.
Fair enough. I don't know. I think
you think that was a little harsh. Did you think I was harsh? I saw your face. You thought I was a little harsh.
I don't know. I guess I
think it's the worst idea that we've ever covered.
Oh, wow. I don't think I think it's an experiment. That's, if they want to keep experimenting with that, that's fine. I think there's a lot of other things I'd be spending more money on and focusing PR efforts on if I'm Walmart. And that's, trying to keep up with checkout free and trying to figure out how to get more delivery to more dense urban areas and people who don't have, a garage and a fridge with MyQ and all the other things.
Yeah, people who can't pay $20 a month, which when you annualize that is more than Amazon Prime, right? Like, let's keep focused on where focus should be. Yeah, and I was right. Bart Stein left the company in March. He was the senior vice president of new product innovation. This fell into that because I remember talking to him when I wrote the article about this 2 years ago. He's now on to something new, according to LinkedIn, and that is Stealth Company, my favorite LinkedIn profile. All right, Ann, let's keep rolling.
All right. So according to CNBC, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, the Zuck, announced some more new features that they're working on to help creators generate more money from their content. They include a marketplace that would help match brands with creators whose content fits the audiences that they are trying to reach, creator shops, and creator affiliate programs. So these features are coming as Facebook is also adjusting in the recent change to Apple's iOS ecosystem this week that makes it more difficult for Facebook to start sending targeted ads to iPhone and iPad users. They're also looking at doing that on Google Android devices as well. So Facebook's got to get their act together here, Chris. What do you think about this new announcement?
I think it's brilliant. I think Instagram and Facebook / whatever, whoever you want to put the attribution to, I think they just know what the hell they're doing. I think it's pure. I think this is pure genius. I mean, it keeps influencers sticky to Instagram, which I think is important. It also creates an incentive for new influencers to try to grow their business on Instagram. So you've got the marketplace that connects you. The other part of this was they've now got an affiliate marketplace too, so you can grab things to sell just like you would from Amazon if you want to start putting those affiliate links in like any of your blog content or things like that you can do. Like, I just think it makes a ton of sense. So like, I'm curious, and for me, like, you start to see this play out where it's like, okay, where do I go to browse and get inspired, right? Well, okay, I'll go to Instagram. Then I'm going to interact with shops or influencers. And I'm going to see product I like. And then to me, the next real big question here, they're building up all this superstructure around the front end of that. It's like, how do I get it, right? Who am I getting it from? And how do I get it fast? And how do I get it quickly and easily? That's still where I see a ton of infrastructure being developed in and around this that makes commerce happen so quickly at that point of inspiration outside of the traditional, like, more fulfillment-based marketplaces based on, speed of delivery, whether it be Amazon or Instacart or like Gopuff, like we talked about before. There's like some mash up there on the backside of this that I think is fascinating.
Yeah, I think the only issue for me is
Ooh,
the
you see an
details
issue.
were still very vague around how
Mm,
this is going to work and what's going to happen. They haven't deployed any of these yet. It's kind of like to me, it was like, how is Amazon beating us right now on that on Carter Jensen's horizontal line of
yeah.
commerce? And they just kind of went like, well, we're going to do this and this, just the same way that they did with like TikTok and Reels. I think they're just coming at it like, we're going to solve that problem. What I do love, and you mentioned, is that I think that this does open up the opportunity for smaller influencers to make money and to, to really develop themselves as an authority on retail or as a curated mix of brands. And so right now, like Amazon's still requiring baseline minimums of like 10,000 followers to 25,000 followers
Right.
before you can join an affiliate program like this. And this for me eliminates those barriers for any influencer. It also makes the customer experience so much better, where right now, as a customer shopping some influencer shops, you still have to go to like a third party like To Know It or something to find all the items, to
Mhm.
buy the items. And we're seeing this increase, as you mentioned, where they want to keep you an app. There's money to be made by keeping people in that app
100%.
from start to finish, from transaction and then post purchase too. So like, how are we going to see this continue to evolve where Facebook, or we've seen this in other announcements with Shopify and Pinterest this week, Affirm and Returnly, like all these combinations happening where you own the entire cycle from start to finish and keep that customer in your experience as long as is possible. So I think that's going to be what I'll be watching most specifically here.
Yeah, I think you bring up good points too there. Like it's also, there's also more transparency now in the metrics too, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
influencers come in all shapes and sizes. You can get the people that have like huge audiences, but then you can hit the ones that have like a high quality audience, and figuring out who that is and what's the in between there, is not always super easy. And so now you set up tools like this. A lot of people can coexist, and 1 + 1 can equal 3, potentially for a lot more people. And this type of idea is applicable to almost any place where you have a social network. Like LinkedIn could do something like this, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd be the first one to jump on board and be interested to see what that would look like based on what we do. So, all right, this next story, I fought pretty hard for this one. Now, some of you out there are probably going to go like, why in the hell is this in the top 5? But we're going to talk about that. So I mentioned it before, but Harry Potter has a new store in New York City. Actually, not Harry Potter, because he's a
Were you
fictional
trying to do
character.
a voice there too? Was that like throwback to Stanford acting school
No,
again?
no, no, I wasn't. But Harry Potter has a new store
No,
in New
no
York
more
City.
British accents.
All
No
right,
more
yes,
British
I
accents.
got
We
made
cut
fun
it
of by
after
Oliver
last week.
Banks for my British accent last week. You're right, but the brand Harry Potter has a new store in New York City. Now, it's pretty cool. Like if you go in and you read the article, Chain Store H broke this, but it's got some cool stuff. So Warner Brothers, they're the parent company. It's a 21,000 square foot store. Okay, it's going to have 15 different themed areas. I have no idea what any of those areas are. There's a bunch of digital tech that uses quote unquote enchanted keys. There's the key reference again. God,
Oh
it's
my God.
everywhere.
This is
And
the
those
Key Party Omni Talk show this week. Holy cow.
exactly. They unlock experiences throughout the store, those digital keys. There's VR adventures where wizards can take flight. And there's even a place where
Oh
you
yeah.
can get your wands personally engraved if you haven't done so already. And I love this too. There's a virtual mobile queuing system that is COVID safe that basically alerts you to when you can come in the store and visit the store. And I fought hard for this story. Do you think I was crazy? Is this like one of Chris's like flights of fancy, no pun intended, and this shouldn't be here? Or do you think this is a cool story too?
No, I really liked this when you
You
sent it
do.
over, and I criticized myself actually because I was like, I gave the Disney shop such a hard time when we were talking about how
That's an
BS
important
that
point.
was.
No, that's an
And I
important
was
point.
and I was like, man, but I think this is kind of different. I think that the way that they approached the store was experience first and then figured out how you inject retail into the experience. They took like the theme park
Exactly.
approach. So this is a destination in New York, and then we put retail in throughout the experience, not just the gift shop at the end, but like how are you buying VR, tokens to do different experiences? How are you going to take pictures and then take the things that you took pictures and the costumes you were wearing or whatever? So I don't know that I would say like everyone should be going and investing in a 3-story building for like Paw Patrol or Transformers or whatever it might be. But, you know, you've always said it, Chris, like there is that market for these really specific experiences, not necessarily a long-term thing, but there is a market for, you know, having a destination to experience these brands firsthand. And then this digital component to how do you, you know, buy the products before, during, and after that physical experience. So I love this. I also loved the queuing system. So I'm going to, you know, hang up after this recording and call my New York real estate brokers and find the closest like coffee candy shop spot that I can open while people are waiting to get into their Harry Potter experience.
Right. For real fast, spell Q. Go.
Spell what?
Spell Q.
Q. Oh, the line.
That's tricky, huh?
Oh my God. This is so embarrassing.
I love that word.
U-E. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I love that word. It's such a good word. All right.
Oh my God.
Enough Chris humor.
Terrible.
All right. No, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, this thing checks all the boxes on what physical retail is supposed to be. And your Disney point is great because I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to bring it up too, which is like, okay, look, it's inspirational, it's tactile as hell, and it's a social experience of being somewhere. But let's set the record straight here. This is not a retail concept. It is an entertainment concept first and foremost. So is a Lego store. The Disney stores were never set up that way. That was the miss.
Should have been.
They should have been and still could be. The parks are, and maybe that's all you need. But they were retail stores first and foremost, and that's why they weren't interesting to go. Now, I couldn't tell from the article if they're going to charge admission here, but if you're waiting to get in, it wouldn't surprise me if you are. The Lego stores, they charge admission to get in. That's a totally different business model, which means you can run it inventory light. You probably don't really care as much if they buy the stuff on site or buy it from you later or somewhere else later. I think there's just a lot of space for this type of idea to grow. I mean, I think you could do this with Transformers. I think you could do it with Barbie, Hot Wheels, all kinds of things. And I was talking to somebody in the toy business, VP in the toy business, I won't say where, but he was telling me, this blew my mind. They attribute more sales now to YouTube than they do to television advertising. So part of me is like, take some of this television advertising dollars that aren't generating the return and figure out how to do these types of things that actually don't require that much literal product investment to get kids and families going to these places because they just insanely and innately want to. Like, I've never even seen a Harry Potter movie, but I take my kid there. It's no different, and you've been there. The St. Paul Train Museum does the same damn thing, and it's been there for 30, I don't know how long. It's been there 20, 30 years. Yeah. It's the same idea, but it's an idea that can work in a lot of places.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see some of the sales figures that come out of this store because I think like you said it, Chris, like you go in, you have this experience, you're creating these memories. And like after that, what parent is gonna, if they can financially do so, what parent's gonna turn down the kid that's like, this wand was so funny, like I'll remember, whatever, like all these things. It's like the equivalent of, you know, giving people a glass of wine when they walk into a store. Your inhibitions are released. You want happiness, and this is going to be increase your shopping in that experience. So I love it.
Yeah, and once you know how to do this fairly well, it's pretty easy to repeat this, right? And so it's just a marketing investment, really, at the end of the day, to try to drive the units in total. And you watch that in the geography or the market, you know, that you're operating within, which I think is a key point too. Like starting to think like markets and how you watch the movement of your business and your brand. So yeah, no, I think it's super cool. I just honestly wish there's more places. Like if there was a Transformer store, my kid would make me take them there every month, if not every week. Like it would just happen. So anyway, all right, well, that closes us up. Happy birthday today to, man, let me try that again. And happy birthday today to Michelle Pfeiffer. I think I got excited just getting to say Pfeiffer.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah.
There aren't many times you get P and F in that order. Daniel Day-Lewis, another good alliterative name, and everyone's favorite, Uma Thurman. But most importantly, Uma Thurman, right? Yeah. But most importantly, the man who gave us the greatest sitcom of all time, Jerry Seinfeld. This is his birthday as well. Yes, huge fan. I think everyone knows
birthdays
that
today.
If you watch this show. Yeah, those are some big time birthdays. Now remember, if you can only read or listen to one retail blog in the business, make it Omni Talk. Our Fast Five podcast is the quickest, fastest rundown of all the week's top news. And our twice weekly newsletter tells you the top 5 things you need to know each day, and also features special content exclusive to us and just for you. And it's all within the preview pane of your inbox. You can sign up today at www.omnitalk.blog. Thanks as always for listening in. Please remember to like and leave us a review wherever you happen to listen to your podcast or on YouTube. Be sure to check out the webinar we have coming your way with Canop next week. And also stay tuned, but next week's Fast Five is going to be one hell of a humdinger. I don't know if there's going to be any key masters or key whatever's happening in it, but we're doing it live with the Kellogg School of Business and their omnichannel marketing class. So God knows what the hell those young whippersnappers are going to ask us about and put us on the spot about, but it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. So most importantly, check those things out. And as always, be careful out there. The OmniTalk Fast Five is brought to you with the help and support of the A&M Consumer and Retail Group. The A&M Consumer and Retail Group is a management consulting firm that tackles the most complex challenges and advances its clients, people, and communities toward their maximum potential. CRG brings the experience, tools, and operator-like pragmatism to help retailers and consumer products companies be on the right side of disruption. And also Takeoff. Takeoff is transforming grocery by empowering grocers to thrive online. The key is micro-fulfillment, small robotic fulfillment centers that can be leveraged at a hyper-local scale. Takeoff also offers a robust software suite so grocers can seamlessly integrate the robotic solution into their existing businesses. To learn more, visit takeoff.com.